I'm Doug. Welcome to Backcountry Pilgrim. This channel is all about camping, hiking, backpacking, and the gear that goes with it. If you are into that stuff, why don't you click subscribe, and we will get right to it, because today I want to talk to you about survival knives. I was a huge Rambo fan, and as soon as my parents would allow it, I went out and got me a Rambo knife. If you had one of these, please say so in the comments below. I loved this thing. Big old gnarly blade, sawtooth, can opener, you got a compass on the bottom, and the best part was that when you remove the bottom cap from the handle, you had a bunch of survival supplies in there. Matches, fish hooks. I mean, you could pretty much just take this knife out into the forest as a 12-year-old and you would survive for probably minutes. And just in case this fantastic stainless steel got dull, you got a little sharpening stone. I couldn't find my survival knife. I'm sure I probably lost it or sold it at a garage sale or something. This is the Stansport survival knife kit with sheath. Now, when I got one of these knives, I think it ran about $10, and believe it or not, they found a way to make this knife even cheaper. All of this is plastic. It's got this horrible vinyl sheath. If you are looking to get a little bit of nostalgia going, go ahead and pick this thing up. I'll link to it in the description below, but please, please, please do not buy this as any kind of a survival knife. Not even for your kids. It's literally dangerously cheap. So I decided to upgrade to this bad boy right here. This is the Harbor Freight survival knife. Cost me $8. Weighs in at 11 ounces. Nice big scary looking blade. Metal handle. Has the compass, but just like Rambo's knife, it has it on the inside instead of the outside, so that you don't break it when you're trying to use it. And again, on the inside of the hollow handle, you have a little survival kit. Now, this is not a good knife for survival. Although it looks wicked, the fact of the matter is you are not going to saw through wood very well with these teeth. This big giant blade is basically held to the handle by a single bolt going through a very small piece of metal. But if you just want a cool Rambo knife, this is a great way to go, and it is certainly better than that thing we had when we were 12. In the real world, a survival knife really doesn't look very much like a Rambo knife. Basically, a real survival knife is a tool that primarily has to do with cutting and getting you wood for a shelter or a fire. For example, one of the typical tests of a survival knife is its ability to baton wood, and that means that you use the knife like a wedge and you literally hammer it through a piece of wood, and something like that is not going to be done very well by a knife like this, because this edge on the top here is very thin. And so the trouble is, this edge will actually destroy the piece of wood that you're using to baton the knife. Now, when you take away all of those admittedly awesome looking features, you basically end up with something that looks like this. It is long enough and thick enough for batoning, but it is also sharp enough to do some whittling or some other kinds of wood processing. It's also sharp enough to do some feather sticking, that sort of thing, or animal processing. And when you get into the fine work, it's got a nice big finger choil and jimping along the top, and those features give you a good solid grip even if you want to get right up on top of the blade. So although it is not as sexy as a Rambo knife, this is something that is actually going to do the job when you're out in the bush. Now, I will get back to this later, but first I want to show you one more knife. This ridiculous knife weighs 1 pound by itself without the sheath. But I mean, look at it. This thing is awesome. It's ridiculously thick, ridiculously wide, ridiculously sharp, and I love it. In all honesty, I don't know where I'm ever going to take this knife or what I'm ever going to do with it, but I just couldn't resist. It's just such a wicked looking blade. I had to have it. But when it comes to my actual real life bushcraft survival knife, whatever you want to call it, I went with the Ontario Knife Company Rat 7. Now, full disclosure, just like I said on my backpacking knife video, I am not a knife guy. I have fun with knives, but this is not a knife channel. I am not one of these knife experts, but I do my research. Something smaller like this, which is a great little camp knife, is fine, but it's not going to be able to do the kind of wood processing and other things that a mid-size knife can do. And as I was looking through some of my favorite knife and survival type channels, the Esee 6 just seemed to be the ultimate mid-sized knife. It's not a big giant sword or machete. Quite honestly, I wouldn't really know what to do with a machete other than macheting things. The only problem was that it runs about $115. And given how much I realistically actually use a survival knife, I just really couldn't justify the price, especially once I discovered the Rat 7. It's made by Ontario Knife Company and is actually designed by the same designer, Randall's Adventure Training, hence RAT, the Rat. The Rat 7 is a 12-inch knife with a 7-inch blade. The Esee 6 is an 11-inch knife with a 6.5-inch blade. The Rat 7 is also a thicker blade, so you're actually getting a bit more knife with the Rat 7. Both are made in the USA. Both have a blade made with 1095 steel. Both of them have jimping and a finger choil for good close-up work, and both of them come with the excellent Mercata grip. The Esee 6 has shock scales between the Mercata handle and the actual metal of the knife. The coating on the Esee 6 is a little nicer, and the Esee 6 comes with the unrivaled 100% lifetime of the knife, no questions asked warranty. The Ontario Knife Company gives you a limited lifetime warranty on knives made in the USA. But the real kicker for me is that this knife can be found for $72. So for about 70 bucks, you're getting a knife that is about 98% as good as an Esee 6, which costs 60% more. Comes with a nylon sheath with a plastic insert inside for the blade, with MOLLE compatible webbing on the back. Weight of the Rat 7 is 13.2 ounces, 17.2 with the sheath. So this is obviously not a backpacking knife. However, for bushcrafting or survival, tough to beat. I hope this video has helped you out. If you have found any value in it, would you mind clicking that like button? I would appreciate it. Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Love to hear your comments about what knives you use and for what purpose. Drop those in the comments below, and until next time, I'm Doug. Take it easy.